I built 8 different e-commerce brands to over $1 million in sales, and every single one of those brands followed a extremely simple yet unavoidable truth that allowed us to scale to 7 figures and beyond. In this video, I'm going to share with you what that rule is, along with steps that you can take in your own business to make sure that you are using it to your advantage to beat all of your competitors. Now let's get into it. So 2 of our most recent brands, History Tees and Yoga Stay, were print-on-demand apparel brands that we grew and ultimately sold in about 2 years' time to a company called OpenStore. So both of these brands are shining examples of a successful print-on-demand business, but underneath the surface is the real reason that they were successful. It was not because of the designs or the ads or even the website. It was something way, way simpler than that. And this is something that I see students inside of WeScale University struggling with all the time, because it is oftentimes the simplest solution to their problems, but it's the one that people don't want to hear the most. And I can't fault them for that by any means, because I am exactly the same way. Every time I hear this, I wish that there was a simpler and faster way around this problem to scaling these brands. But after doing this 8 different times and having lots of different failures aside from those 8, I can confidently say that there is no shortcut to this. So all that we can do is accept that fact and then utilize it to our own advantage to beat our competitors. And here it is. Here's the big secret. The big secret is that it just takes a lot of designs. And the rule that we use when launching these new brands is the rule of 100. We will not launch a new print-on-demand brand on Shopify unless we have a bare minimum of 100 different designs. And if you're hearing that, you're like, okay, yeah, you need a lot of designs. Cool. Like, really hear that. What it actually takes to be successful in this business is a high volume of designs for a number of different reasons. But before I get into that and how we take advantage of it and make sure that it's not a roadblock in our business, I want to talk about, this is a fact in any business that we would get into, whether if you're getting into software or consulting or an agency or brick and mortar, like, doesn't matter. In every single business, there is that grass is always greener type moment where you get into it and you're like, oh, okay, so this is why not everybody's doing it. With print on demand, the number of designs that it takes to be successful, that is the reason why not everybody does this. And this is the thing that doesn't get airtime in YouTube videos, and you won't hear about it that much because it's not a fun topic. It's just the fact of the matter is that in order to be successful in this, it takes a raw, like high volume amount of designs being launched. Now, here's why. Is say if we launch a new print-on-demand brand with, say, 10 or 20 designs. We might have 1, maybe 2 designs in there if we're lucky. But on average, we see out of all the designs we launch, about 5 to 10% will do anything. Like 80 to 90% plus will do absolutely nothing. They will just wither on the vine and die out. So only 5 to 10% of our designs actually end up doing any kind of like reasonable amount of, not even sales, just like general interest from the market. And that's just a fact. That's even after doing this for years and years. My best attempts, I still only get 5 to 10% of my designs showing any signs of life. And that's what the whole premise of this business model is based around, is we launch with a large number of designs and then we throw stuff at the wall and then we see what sticks and then we make more stuff like that. Like for example, on History Tees, we launched with Lincoln 5-star review, luckily, because that was the only design that did anything of substance. The rest of our designs at the time was like blueprint art, historical facts, historical figures of just like their heads, like war maps, stuff like that, we thought might be cool. There might be interest for it in the market, but Lincoln 5-star review is all that people wanted. And so if we had launched with just 20 designs, our sample size would have been way smaller. And there would have been a high degree of likelihood that we didn't have that winner in there. So that's the number one reason why we have to capitalize on this, is that just statistically, it gives us a higher likelihood of having at least one winning design in our catalog. Number 2 is story that I've heard this from Alex Hormozy a number of times, is about the concept of quality versus quantity. And something we hear our students talk about all the time when they're building their first initial batch of designs is that I want my designs to be perfect. Like, I really care about my customer. Like, I really want this to be an awesome brand. Like, that's great. Like, more power to you. You take pride in your work. Awesome. But there's a misconception about what taking pride in your work, what that should actually translate to in the business. Spoiler alert, it's not sitting there taking 3 hours to make a single design. That is not it. What is, taking pride in your business to me is just, you want it to be high quality. You want it to be performative. You want it to get results and like impact customers at the end of the day. The way that you get that impact and you get in front of customers is to build a successful business. Building a successful business starts with building a product catalog that people want. Like, that's it, that people want. And so how do we do that is with quantity over quality. And the story that I mentioned from Hermosi is that there was a professor who at the beginning of his semester, he split up his class into two halves. It was a sculpting professor. And half the class, he said, I want you to build the most perfect jar by the end of the semester. You have the entire semester, make one jar. And the other half of the class, he said, you have no rules. All you have to follow is you're making jars, and I want you to make as many as humanly possible. And so by the end of the semester, you might think that, okay, the group that was told to sit there and make the perfect jar, they would have accomplished that, but then the other group would have just a classroom filled with them, something like that. And you'd be reasonable to think that, except the exact opposite was true. Not only did the group that was told to make as many as possible have the most number, obviously, they also had the best jars by far. And the other group had something that was mediocre at best. And the moral of the story is that there are certain improvements and lessons that we will only learn from just sheer volume. And there are little nuances and ins and outs that you will only learn from doing the entire process through and through and through and through over and over and over again, that you could sit there and spend an entire semester on a single shirt, single jar, and it still not be as good as somebody who took that same amount of time and spread it across 1,000 designs. The second reason is that you have to prioritize quantity over quality because it will ultimately lead to quality. And then the third reason that this is so important is that even once we get past the initial point of launching our brand, and so we have 100 designs, we go to market, we launch, we find, okay, 5 to 10 different designs that did okay. The question is, then what? What next? Well, the answer is we make more designs. Like in the History Tees case, we launched, we went to market. People liked pretty much one design out of the entire batch that we launched with. And that one design, fortunately, all that we need is a little thread that we can pull on. That was Lincoln 5-star review. So then we can go and make 30, 40 more designs just like that. But that's the point of it, is that we don't just stop at 100. The name of this game is more designs, like more better. So if you're avoiding making a lot of designs or feels like an arduous process to you, this is the piece that doesn't get airtime, is that's the whole game. That right there, what you're feeling and experiencing, that is why not everybody does this, which is a double-edged sword. It's good and bad. The good side is that if you can grin and bear that, like, you're going to be successful in this long term, because that's the price you have to pay. But the downside is that, it doesn't really change. So if you really, really feel like you're fighting an uphill battle with this, like print on demand, you're in the design business. That is what it is. But when people ask me, like, is there a number of designs that I should stop at? It's like, better question is like, is there a point where you would stop working on your business? And if the answer is obviously no, then no, there is no time that you would stop making more designs, because that is growing your business. Now, the caveat to this, and this segues into how we implement this in a way that we take it to our advantage, is that back to that double-edged sword, we know that our competitors do not want to be consistently churning out dozens and dozens of designs, and that's something that we can capitalize on. So how do we use that to our advantage? Especially me personally, I'm not somebody who thoroughly enjoys just making dozens and dozens of designs every day. Top 1% of print-on-demand brands make 7 designs a day, by the way. So how do we use that to our advantage? Number one is with AI, like mysticpod.com. You can go ahead and check out the tool that we're building. It's like Midjourney specifically for print-on-demand sellers, basically. So you can go ahead and check that out. But tools like that, there's lots of different AI tools out there. But another option, one that we used on History Tees in particular, was outsourcing. And we created a Trello board where we had all of our designs, and we just had our design pipeline. And just like anything else in business, if it's a consistent and repeatable process that is crucial to the business, a lot of times it makes sense to systematize that. Depends on what your goals are. If you're just trying to keep this as like a part-time hobby, then that's a different story. But I'm trying to build brands, I'm trying to build real businesses with like enterprise value. And that comes down to the fulfillment of the product has to be something that's outsourceable. And by outsourceable, it just means you can train somebody else to do it. So we train our team of VAs to work with designers, to come up with the ideas, to everything from looking at the sales numbers, like which of our designs have been performing the best, to uploading it to Shopify, to Printify, all of that. The entire end-to-end process out of our hands at this point. Now, it took us years to get to that point, but that's how we capitalize on this and use it to our advantage, is by recognizing the fact that there's no getting around it. Anytime I have tried to get around the fact that you just need 100 designs to start, then you need another 100, then you need another 100. Anytime I've tried to get around that, it just goes the other way. And I've accepted the fact at this point that if I want to be in the print-on-demand business, then that's just a fact of life, and I have to accept that. Fortunately, tools are getting better and better. It's becoming a lot easier, but use it to your advantage. Face it head on. Don't avoid it. And if you want to learn more about this kind of thing, feel free to check out the 21-hour course. It's completely free. It's over on the YouTube channel. It goes into a ton of detail about our design process and how we go about utilizing the law of 100 to our advantage. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.